I'm starting this video over. I wanted to respond to Rupert Morris and to Paul Talk. I've been recording myself doing pantomime routines, and Paul sent some note of criticism, critical judgment regarding it, and I've taken it to heart, but it's also got a bit of a sting to it. And I was listening to Rupert Morris saying, like, lighten up, you know. It's got this wonderfully cheeriness. Living over in Elfland, Lord of the Rings country. And I hear that, and I don't know. What I like to talk about is serendipity and criticism, and thinking a little bit about criticism and its positive and negative aspects. I've been here in my small town watching a stoplight change slowly from green to yellow to red, and not many cars around, and it reminds me of David Lynch, as in his series Twin Peaks. There would often be a cut between dramatic scenes, kind of punctuation mark of this stoplight that would change from red to yellow to green, and it seems to kind of symbolize an existence of order, law and order operating mechanistically, but no one is around to pay it any notice or heed. And David Lynch generally, I'm not trying to recommend him, or even, I don't know quite what to say about him, but he seems to be one of these people who has a bit of a dark-sided bent. He's and overall an anti-intellectual sort of attitude. He has this attitude that criticism kills. That when you dissect something, well, first when you dissect an animal, you have to kill it, right? And when you dissect a piece of art in a certain way, you have to anesthetize it. And so there's a danger to be had in criticism, and I don't fully share Lynch's view to the extent he seems to push it, but I do think there is a kind of duality that needs to be respected. So, you know, here I am at a meta level. I'm critiquing criticism itself, and then, you know, I suppose someone could criticize me for my criticism critique, and we could go on putting hats on top of other hats until I don't know, until the cows turn into slugs, and the slugs turn into eagles, and the eagles turn into wives and concubines. But what to say? I guess I'm just sort of noticing and seeing a kind of reverberationism between the idea of criticism and the idea of filial piety, and the notion of instruction generally, and also related thoughts to schizophrenia and to psychosis and our psychotic world. Because I think to be life unto another, criticism has to toe a fine line. And on the one hand, you don't criticize at all, everything becomes mushy and gray. On the other hand, you're too harsh and discourage the other, or don't say anything. The Piagetian way of speaking about this, Jean Piaget, is talking about scaffolding. When you are teaching a child, there has to be the right context, the right scaffolding. Can't make unrealistic demands. Things have to be sort of somewhat within the proximate realm of tangible achievability. And to be a good critic, to render just judgment, one has to be in the right relationship to oneself and one's own parents and children. It's a very delicate business. A definition of comedy that I like is that comedic is a violation against a benign violation against some norm. And what someone might see as benign, you might not, and vice versa. On some level, there's things, or it could be, you could say there's an objective kind of platonic normative thing that some things are truly benign and others are not, but we are segmented and trapped in our little lives and little worlds. And comedy is a kind of like oxygenation of the body politic. It's a way of those segmented parts to kind of come together and to breathe. And laughter, above all, is an act of the breath. Ha 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 ha. It's an exuberant movement of the lungs. Some people find laughter distasteful. There's an attitude that laughter is somehow gauche, it's unmannerly. And some people have obnoxious laughs. I've been trying to work on mine, Sometimes I laugh in a sort of high-pitched voice. We're like, hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo. It's a bit like that, right? These tensions exist. I can feel them right now. Sort of pinning me down like a dress shirt, I'm underneath the tailor's pin and the surgeon's scalpel. I'm nailed to the wall. But I think in my personal experience, I approach artistic output, and I do it in various ways, and it's not clear to me where to most firmly direct my efforts, because I think what I get out of it largely, at least in part, is that art is this area, this sandbox, where you are relatively free from the criticisms that otherwise oppress you, that feel, you're at work, you're at home, one has to behave in a certain way, watch out and make sure you don't get into accidents, that you don't mess things up, you don't create problems, keep the wheels greased, and a certain amount of anxiety builds up like plaque on your teeth, just through the rigmarole of it all. And art promises a kind of zone where the normal rules don't apply. Play, right? The play pathway of the brain gets a little bit of sport. Trying to remember what I had memorized from Henry IV, the speech that Prince Hal gives to Falstaff. They're running around and thieving and having a good old time. He says, I know you all, and will a while uphold the unyoked humor of your idleness. Yet herein I imitate the sun, who doth permit the base contagious clouds to smother up his beauty from the world, that being wanted, he may be more wondered at, when he please again to be himself, and break through the foul mists of vapors that did seem to strangle him. If all the world were playing a holiday, to sport would be as tedious as to work. But when they seldom come, they wished for come, and nothing pleaseth like rare accident. So when my loose behavior I throw off, and pay the debt I never promised, by how much better than my word I am, I'll so offend to make offense a skill, redeeming time when men think least I will. Right? So there's a kind of funny relationship between these things, because you can get so into art and to this kind of fixation on making visual art or miming or what have you, that it loses that spontaneous, playful quality. If all the world were playing holiday, to sport would be as tedious as to work. It's the playfulness of art itself that gives it its seriousness. If it's too serious, then it's not serious, and if it's properly playful, then it's serious. Something like that. And it's a constant sort of war of me against I, and I against myself, and myself against me. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Unless you bring a gun, and then all bets are off. A gun can shoot rock, papers, and scissors. Maybe a grenade launcher would be better. So these things are all tangled up. How you treat your father. How you treat your father and your brother, and your brother from another mother, and your sister from another mister. And your cousin from another buzzin' bee. Right? I don't know. Serendipity. So, reliance on serendipity. One has to have a kind of appreciation for the realm of play and not get it confused with the realm of work, and to keep one's eye on the ball a certain way. And that's kind of what I think taste Paul always talks often, occasionally, talks about taste. Taste is something difficult to describe, says Paul. And I think, in large part, because a discussion of taste involves just this aspect that I've been trying to flesh out. This distinction between work and play. That when something is in bad taste, often it's because it seems try-hard, right? It seems poserish. It seems like there's an unresolved kind of there's tension, a kind of mental baggage that is weighing it down in greater or lesser degree. That it's something presenting itself as an object of beauty, but in fact it's a little bit it's polluted. It's hasn't been refined enough. You need to go back, pull out your chemistry set, get out your Bunsen burner, and fire it up, and drop the thermometer in there, and consult the manual, and extract the improperly ordered molecules. And thalidomide, right? Remember thalidomide? Drug given to pregnant women for morning sickness. And there were two analog molecules, mirror images of each other, and one of them cured morning sickness. The other, the mirror, the evil twin, caused all kinds of horrific deformities, gremlin-like deformities on rat tails and scales and gills. Actually, I'd like to have gills. It'd be fun to be able to just, take a few weeks off work and explore the ocean floor, and just eat shrimp right off the vine. I would like to have that power. To breathe underwater. So yeah, I don't know. I think I've probably said enough, but there seems to be an effort to describe all this, or to make sense of this kind of thing in relationship to the Western canon, which is good. And I feel that because that's sort of the granddaddy of them all, When you pull off your large hat, and then your small hat under that, and your even tinier hat was under that, and then there's a truly minuscule hat you pull off, and then there's that microscopic hat. It's way down deep in your skull, and you pluck that out with a pair of tweezers. Well, under that final hat is the Western canon, banging around in your mind. So, Godspeed to one and all, and may serendipitous blessings attack you today.